Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
Thanks for finding the Promo Code Ham YouTube channel. Subscribe. I always point the wrong way. Subscribe to it right down there.
You can also find the podcast, Haberman, that's him, Middlecoff, that's me, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen, subscribe to your pods, we're there.
Yep, right there for you. Here's a question, John, as we get ready for the draft.
Ooh-wee.
What is the biggest question facing the Raiders?
Will their building be built?
Okay.
Nah, that's going to get, it looks like even with Corona, it's going to get built. I think the biggest question by far, and it's been something now that's really kind of hung over this franchise. I understand that they've said all the right things, but we all know, and their quarterback, if you follow him on social media, has, in a passive-aggressive way, reacted. The court is Derek Carr, John Gruden's long-term answer at quarterback.
Right.
I mean, this year they clearly flirted with Tom Brady, and it was clear that Tom Brady wasn't that interested.
And then they bring in Mariota, right, who, and we're looking at the tweet here from Ben Volen, gets backup QB money, but you know who got backup QB money last year?
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. So do the Raiders have their franchise quarterback? And I think the thing that complicates it or makes it interesting is, like, if you looked at Carr on paper last year, you'd say 70%, 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, over 4,000 yards passing, which put him in the top 10. He was 8th in the league, more than Wentz, more passing yards than Mahomes last year. Obviously, Mahomes was hurt for a couple games. But the question is not, like, does the box score look good? This team now is at a point, I think you'd agree, this is a year they got to go to the playoffs. I think they're going to be better this year. I think they'll be incremental. They should be more solid on defense. We'll see if they get him a weapon in the first round. So I think they're going to come into the year thinking, and maybe we kind of thought this last year, remember that guy Antonio Brown? This needs to be a playoff team this year, and so that's going to raise the stakes for this conversation especially.
You know, even though Mariota got basically $7.5 million for this year, guaranteed, which is top-end backup money, it's the high-end backup money. I think we all, Raider fans, football fans, Derek's better player right now than Marcus Mariota. And given that the offseason is going to get wiped out, he has no chance to beat him out. The thing is, like with Tannehill, there's a little bit of this elephant in the room that if they add a star wide receiver in the draft, which they're equipped as any, right? Multiple first-round picks. They already have Waller, who's a good player. Josh Jacobs. I don't know if you saw his high school highlights got tweeted by the NFL account from before he went to Alabama. He's a star. But here's the thing, Guy. He has not played well in cold weather. And that, you know, if you were in a certain division like the AFC South and you like play in Indy and Jacksonville and Tennessee, it can get a little chilly, but the Texans are in a dome. I don't think it would be that big a deal. But the Raiders consistently play the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs in November and December. You and I have been watching this team closely for about a decade, and it feels every year they're playing in cold games. If not one of the places, usually both of them. And last year was a good example they did. And if you look last year, they were in a position to make a playoff run. People forget they were 6-4.
Right.
Josh Jacobs got banged up. Starting in around Thanksgiving, the 11-24 game against the Jets till the end of the season, he threw 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. And his 2 picks over that stretch came in Kansas City. So one, he wasn't explosive enough down the stretch when they needed him to make plays because Jacobs was out. Now, the players who he was with, Terrell Williams was banged up. Jacobs was in and out of the lineup. Waller can only do so much. But the reality is this year, when they're going to add a weapon, all these guys coming back, their offensive line's really good. We do have to agree that the excuses and the standards for him are going to be higher than they've been these last couple of years.
By the way, oh my God, Josh Jacobs' high school highlights?
It's incredible. He's a baller. Do you know what it shows you? Just watch that and realize this is what it takes to get Nick Saban to offer you a scholarship.
I'm going to try and put those in this video. Yeah, and by the way, add this. They've got road games this year at the Jets, at Cleveland, and at New England. Also at Carolina, at Atlanta. But, you know, when those games are is going to be critically important then if we're going to talk about temp.
And it's not like because the Raiders now their new stadium is in a dome, that doesn't affect anything, right? Because they already played in a mild weather climate in Oakland. Like the weather in Oakland was never an issue for him, right? It's not like he's going from Indy or just a place where he was outdoors to now indoors. It just, to me, it stays neutral.
Look, I think this team will be better this year. The fact is, and maybe I'm holding on, but I remember Derek Carr's 2016 season, right?
It
28
happened.
touchdowns,
It happened.
six interceptions, 3,900 yards. But it was 12-3, and he made plays like that season. Just like last season, people argue against last season. There's a debate about are the numbers better than he was, whatever. I know this. 2016 was a really good year, like a great year. Like, could this guy become the MVP of the NFL year? So I do think he's going to get the shot just because he is beating out Marcus Mariota. Now the question is Mariota playing early? Does Mariota get some packages? Does something happen that leads to him playing? But Derek Carr is going to get the first and the best shot to be the quarterback. And if they're better than the team that at least had itself in position to make a run at the playoffs last year, then it means he's going to get opportunities. And so I am not one that says he can't do it. He can't prove to Gruden that he's the guy, but that is the overarching question of the year. Are you open-minded to the possibility?
In a weird way, resurrect his career, even though he's been a consistent starter for 7 years. Resurrect his career in the sense where he's viewed as like a top 10 quarterback, like he was after that 2016 season, where he was him and Carson Wentz, right, going back and forth, being the MVP of the league that year, right? It was MVP of the league level stuff in
Right.
2016 when they were potentially going to have a home field bye. I do believe that he can get it back. Maybe not to that level, but on a level where you feel good about him being a starter on a playoff team. And some of the stuff's out of his control, but he is going to be asked to be more explosive, to make big plays. And their division, the Chiefs are the best team in the league, Super Bowl champions. And they're clearly on paper going to be the heavy favorites to win the AFC. The Chargers, if they land Justin Herbert, their roster around him is fantastic. The Denver Broncos ended last season really hot. They added Melvin Gordon. They already have Phillip Lindsay. They have a really good tight end to go with their young quarterback. And their coach is known as a defensive mastermind. So you would say division-wise, on paper, it's probably one of the best in the league, right, Guy?
I would say it's as tough as it can get.
Without having star quarterbacks.
Yeah, but because he also has the chance to be the second best quarterback in the league, I also think, or in the division, excuse me, I also think it's possible that the Raiders are the second place team in the AFC West and get a wild card.
It's going to be hard.
I know,
because
but I'm
even
just saying,
last year,
the Chargers have a lot. They also might have a rookie quarterback. The Broncos have a lot going for them. They got Vic, but they might have Drew Lock basically starting as a starter for the first full season of his career. Yeah. So I think Carr does control a lot here. The division's tough, but if he plays up and this team is better, they can also be a playoff team despite it.
I'll be a little shocked non-injury if Mariota starts games.
Any games? Like even like week 17 if it's not going great?
Yeah, I think Derek's just
I agree. I don't think
they're going to be that bad.
Yeah. I don't think let's say coronavirus never happens, I still don't think Mariota's winning that job.
What I do think can be an interesting wrinkle because Tannehill didn't get packages, right? He just started playing when Mariota got benched. You're probably onto something. This guy's going to get packages.
I mean, it's Gruden.
And the guy has a unique skill set, right? He's much different than Derek in terms of his legs.
Yeah.
He's made some of his big plays in the league have come running the football. And Gruden's just itching to do some different stuff, right? Maybe a little wildcat with him and Josh Jacobs.
We're itching for more videos. We hope you are too. Subscribe. Let us know what you think about this one in the comments. And there'll be another one coming out, I don't know, soon.
Quarantine Live.